Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Amber Valley series. There are 35 parishes in this beautiful slice of eastern Derbyshire. Here's one for your viewing pleasure. Welcome back to Amber Valley, everybody. Now, you remember last week in Ashleyhay it was very windy at the top of Allport Heights, but there was no rain. The rain has come back since. It's started to tip it down proper once again. Not going to be long in this one though, to be fair, because it's only a small village. I'm in a place called Idridgehay Green, which is part of the parish of Idridgehay and Alton. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. Welcome back to Amber Valley, guys, and to the parish of Idridgehay and Alton, another scattered rural idyll with not a lot in the way of population. This time though, instead of being up in the hills, we're very much in a valley, that of the River Ecclesbourne. Idridgehay can be split into four areas: Idridgehay Village, Idridgehay Green, Alton and Hillclifflane, all with their own little quirks and stories to be told. Like Ashleyhay, the name Idridgehay is sometimes written as two words separated by a hyphen, Idridge-Hay. The word hay in these terms is Old English and means an enclosed field. It's commonplace in many rural counties as a result, although not so much in Derbyshire. You'll have to wait until we hit Devon to see plenty more of them. Idridgehay doesn't have much, but it can at least say it has a couple of claims to fame. For one, the only pub in the parish, the Black Swan, has a connection to the writer George Eliot. Alton Manor House was designed by another famous George, namely Sir Gilbert Scott, and was built for a man who had a dislike for the railway, James Milnes. Speaking of that, Idridgehay can boast another station on the Ecclesbourne Valley Line, which passes close to Alton Manor. The church was built in 1845 to the designs of Henry Isaac Stevens and is one of his finest works. So let's go and see all that and whatever else may come our way in the rain once again. We begin in Idridgehay Green, a village not suitable for HGVs. I guess this guy found that out pretty quickly. The Green is the largest area of settlement in the parish. It's laid out in a neat little square surrounding a central field. It's generally flat, not bad for Derbyshire, but then again we are in the bottom of a valley, that of the River Ecclesbourne. The Green is wholly residential. It reminded me a lot of Windley, just a bit bigger and with less of a hill to contend with. There are no facilities in Idridgehay Green barring a church. There was once a school built in 1866, but it's now a private house. Here's the field in the middle of the square. I think it's more of a paddock than a field, but either way, public access is not allowed across it. Aside from at Allport Height, it had been throwing it down all day, so wit's end summed up my feelings towards the rain at this point. Perhaps there was a chance to get out of the rain a little bit though. Off one corner of the square is a straight lane towards the church. Okay, behind me you can see Idridgehay's church with its tall spire. That's the last thing on this main walk, but there will be a secondary walk after this, because Idridgehay is a little bit more than just Idridgehay Green. There is actually Idridgehay itself, and that has a few other landmarks. We'll go there in a second. Next though, it's that church. Let's head for it. Idridgehay's church is dedicated to St James the Great. We'll have a proper look at this in a moment, but it has some nearby features. One of these is the War Memorial. As well as this cross, the churchyard contains 3 Commonwealth war graves. Directly opposite the cross is a bus stop. Idridgehay is served by the same 6.1 bus service that we met in Cowers Lane, Shottle. There are mileposts along here. This road, the B5023, is a former turnpike that connected Derby to Wirksworth. These are listed. So to the church. St James the Great was built in 1854 and is a Grade 2 listed building that can seat 240 people. It was designed by Henry Isaac Stevens, the same man who was responsible for the building in nearby Hazelwood. In its porch is a parish notice board. Tick off Idridgehay and Alton, everybody. Amber Valley is officially 60% complete. St James's is considered a fine example of Stevens' best work. It's a Victorian Gothic building constructed in the decorated style. Okay, that's it for the main walk around Idridgehay Green. Now we're going to head back up to the car and drive to Idridgehay itself and see what that's got. One of the things that does have is another station on the Ecclesbourne Valley Railway. Idridgehay itself is a linear settlement based mainly around 3 roads: Ecclesbourne Lane, Rood Lane and the B5023. This is Idridgehay Corn Store, which is an animal feed shop. This caters for everything from cats and dogs to cattle, sheep and horses. Property-wise, it's the only commercial building in the village except the pub. The rest is housing, which includes some big barn conversions. The pub is the Black Swan. This was used by novelist George Eliot as the original for the wagon overthrown in her novel Adam Bede. On to Rood Lane. Here's another intermediate stop between Duffield and Wirksworth on the Ecclesbourne Valley Railway. Opened with the other stations on the line in 1867, Idridgehay Station was designed by the Midland Railway Company architect John Holloway Sanders. As we already know, the line closed in 1947, but mineral traffic still used the railway and freight facilities until 1989. Notable here is the hand-operated level crossing. This, with new gates and new fencing, was restored during the winter of 2007 and 2008. Like Duffield and Shottle, Idridgehay Station has been restored, but the building and station master's house are now privately owned. Okay, and that's Idridgehay. But of course, this parish is not just about Idridgehay, it's called Idridgehay and Alton, and that's because we haven't yet covered Alton. Alton's a very tiny place that's just to the north of Idridgehay Green. It doesn't have a lot, but one thing it definitely does have is Alton Manor House. That's today's special section. Alton Manor House is by far the biggest and most historic property in the parish. It's a small Elizabethan country house which was designed by George Gilbert Scott. It occupies an L-shaped plan on top of a plinth. It was built in 1846 for James Milnes of Wirksworth. The house is built of stone ashlar and coursed rubble from a quarry directly opposite its location. The roof was originally stone slate, but was re-roofed in 1960 with tile. The house is set in a 26-acre park, and the whole area occupies most of the northwestern reaches of Idridgehay and Alton parish. Milnes was born at Ashover and practised as an attorney at law in Matlock. He declared himself a fugitive from Darley Dale, where he had previously lived, because according to him, the coming of the railway made it no longer fit for a gentleman to live there. Ironic then that he died in 1866, just 1 year before the Ecclesbourne line opened. It passes just 430 metres to the east of the manor house. To finish with, we're heading for the next one via the hamlet of Hillclifflane. That's all one word, by the way. It's another linear part of Idridgehay which climbs uphill towards the boundary with Derbyshire Dales and the curiously named hamlet Cross of the Hands. That's for another time though. I'll see you later all. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.